It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. Just in time for our Monday relationship advice, and it's all about dishonesty this morning. No matter how honest we are, we've all told a little fib here out there. We know it's a little white lie, we call it, but lied about why we were late for work this morning, or maybe embellished how an incident went down, you know, over dramatic sometimes. But lying or being dishonest with people who trust us can damage us and our relationships, sometimes irreparably. So today we're asking you this question: have you ever been dishonest in your relationship, and why? Well, clinical psychologist Asha Dullabh is here today to help us discuss this, and we're taking your questions and comments via our Facebook page. Do engage with us. Asha, so good to have you with us in studio. I know last week you were via video call, but it's always nice to connect with you.
Yes. Making a statement as well. Lady in pink, I absolutely love this look, radiating. Well, let's talk about this.
Are you lying? Are you lying?
Am I lying? Am I being dishonest? Let's cut through all the grey areas here, because I know a lot of people hide behind these little white lies and fibs. Is being dishonest the same as lying to your partner? Are they the same thing at the end of the day, or is there like a difference? Yeah.
So I think dishonesty is like a broad category where lying is included in that, you know, the blatant lie. But I think also what's included is also when we withhold information, when we don't tell the complete truth, where we like pretend to be honest, when we're not actually being honest, when we're like sort of pretending to be fair, but we're not completely fair. So it definitely falls into that category. But Raul, you know, we live in a pretentious world. So dishonesty is not only in what we say and don't say, it's a state of mind. And, you know, where there's pretentiousness, there's this potential to do a lot of harm and hurt to others.
Yeah.
There's so many of us that are just living pretentiously, fake, false, faulty. That's why, to some degree, I say that we all are faulty human beings. We all do lie to some degree. If we don't lie, I don't think that we'd have any friends for 24 hours.
You're saying that's how brutally honest we actually are inside, eh?
Yeah. But here's the thing. Sometimes when you lie or you don't tell the honest truth, you're almost trying to protect the other person, trying to protect that relationship because you don't want to hurt them or make them feel a certain type of way. What are the negative effects of withholding the truth and maybe saying a small little lie or not being totally honest?
So, of course, you know, you get the nail there. We try and protect other people. We don't want to hurt others. So that is why sometimes we will withhold. So people lie for various reasons, and that is one of the reasons for protection. Obviously, we try and avoid punishment. We try and avoid feeling uncomfortable in any situation. So we lie for so many reasons, and that is one of them, to protect another person's feelings, and of course to protect ourselves. But of course, lying, there's a whole spectrum. You know, it can be very harmless, like the white lie, but it can extend to significant, extreme form of lying where there's quite a lot of pathology and dysfunction that happens. So it's important to know what type of liar you are dealing with.
Now, when it comes to the lying, it's something that happens in a relationship. You mentioned the fact that we do inevitably lie, and it's possibly to protect our partner. From the other side, what should we do when we are potentially receiving a lie, so to speak? Because addressing it again is also another instant. Is it something that we should look with in terms of there's something wrong with me as a person and that's why my partner's lying to me? Or should I not even anticipate that and just call it out for what it is?
So, you know, the reality is that we all lie to some degree. The white lies, it's like the simple thing of, how are you? Now I'm fine. That's as simple as it is. But when we're looking at relationships, it's definitely the level of lying. It's the type of lie that you're dealing with, you know. It can cause tremendous amount of hurt. And of course, mistrust, distrust. I mean, when you cannot trust an individual, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, and that's a tough relationship to build after that.
Difficult relationship. Yeah. And where there's no trust, there's constant questioning. You know, we question everything that everyone says. You become distrusting in the world. So it extends to how you relate to other aspects of yourself as well. It's more about the person, the integrity of a human being. Because what is the core meaning of integrity? It's to be intact. And when we are intact as human beings, we are whole. And that's why it's so important to really try very hard to be as transparent as possible, Try and call it out when you see a lie, when there's a lie evident, even if it's a small one, try and call it out. But to some degree, some people are not able to heal from lying, and that is more the severe type of liar. They need a level of accountability and responsibility to actually start healing. So it's easy to deal with the white lies, but when we get to the more serious form of lying, that's a different story, and that's more what probably takes place in the relationships that causes it to become dysfunctional and toxic.
That's such an impression.
I believe there's 5 types of lies, and we're maybe going to broaden into this. What kind of lie am I when I tell my partner that I didn't finish all the series that we binge watched together, and then I watched it on the sideline? Is that like a serious pathological liar, or am I just like at the beginning stages of lying? I just want to know. I'm asking for a friend.
I think that's a good question, because it's about the intent and the expectation of why you are lying. You know, we lie, there's facts, there's values. I mean, that I would say is harmless.
Good.
And, you know, it can be playful. You know, so often when we lie, we sort of caught out and we say, oh, no, I was just kidding, I was just joking. We try and sort of cover up. But what's most importantly with lies, what we need to know is that it brings up shame. When we lie, there's shame that evolves. So the top 3 emotions when we're dealing with lying or dishonesty is fear, shame, and guilt.
Those are not nice things to actually be associated with. I don't want anything with that. Well, look, Asha, you of course are educating us, and we're talking about dishonesty in relationships, and Asha's not going anywhere because you're about to continue this conversation in just a bit. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, I'm Zanzi, we're back, we're live, and we're diving into a very pertinent topic right now. And if you've missed us earlier in the show, we were talking about, we're talking about relationships, of course. And today we're asking, have you ever been dishonest in your relationship? And maybe the question is, why? So we're back with our clinical psychologist, our specialist, Asha Dullabh, to unpack this topic. So do weigh in the conversation and come through with the comments on our Facebook page, because they'd love to hear what you have to say about it too.
Asha, as always, whenever you come here, I have so many questions with regards to dishonesty and telling a white lie. Because sometimes they say, you know, there's a saying that what doesn't hurt them, sometimes stronger, or sometimes keeping things from them is okay to protect the peace. And we said, you know, sometimes it's okay. You know, what you don't know won't hurt you. Sure. Yeah? What is the notion of this? Because, I mean, that sets a pace of how you're going to go forward in the relationship. If you tell one lie, doesn't that then follow with another lie? And at the end of it, you're just going to be filled with so many lies,
web of
covering
lies.
up everything.
I think with that notion, we can maybe ask the question, is that not being dishonest with some level of empathy or compassion? Because we're trying to protect someone. And like I said earlier, dishonesty, the whole category of dishonesty is also sometimes withholding information, not being completely transparent, all because we want to protect an individual, protect their feelings, protect our feelings from not getting hurt and others. Ultimately, we want to feel comfortable, and we sort of navigate and we try and survive, and that is why we lie. It's a coping mechanism.
Hey, what a horrible way to cope, actually. Oh, look, it's not just lying, because I believe there's actually types of lying, or liars, so to speak, 3 of which we can identify quite easily. Now, I had no idea that, I thought a lie is a lie is a lie, but there's different degrees or levels of it, essentially. So what are those 5 types, so to speak? And maybe you can educate us and take us through it a bit.
Sure. So you get the impulsive liar, and that's maybe the liar with the white lies, you know, just impulsively just say something that's just, you know, I had 1 donut when you had 3 donuts.
Okay.
We all can relate to that one. We can relate to the impulsive liar.
Then you have the compulsive liar, where that's a bit like it's becoming now a habit. The impulsive lies are becoming a bit more frequent. It's the intensity is there, so it's now becoming like you're lying every single day.
Why would that be the case, though? Like,
just to cope, as I say, you know, and also, you know, people have a need to want to control other people, the sense of power. There's so many reasons why we lie. But it's again to feel comfortable. So we're sort of just trying to always kind of maintain a level where there's protection, there's comfort. We have the compulsive liar, as I said, which is the extreme form of the habitual liar. It becomes a habit. But then we go into categories where it becomes more serious. So the first 2, the impulsive and compulsive, I would say is harmless until you get to the pathological liar. Now, this is the liar that is, it becomes a bit scary because it takes a habit to an extreme. The intensity is really intense. They will lie about almost everything and becomes questionable. So this is the person that you're really, really struggling to trust.
Yeah.
You can't be in a healthy relationship with this kind of person. And of course, it goes into a bit more scarier liars, which is the sociopath. This is deliberate deceit. This is deceit where there's a complete level of detachment when it comes to truth. There's a lack of empathy, a lack of remorse. And, you know, it's the person that's trying to pull the wool over someone else's eyes. They're just playing games. They don't hold any value in truth. And, of course, that goes into a further extreme where there's the psychopathic personality type, where it's the antisocial that comes in, the narcissist that comes in, that completely disregards humanity. This is the kind of person that you have to stay away from because there's no
sounds
getting
scary.
away. You get these people that are, you know, they get in trouble with the law, the criminals, the fraudsters, very scary, and the extreme form. And we need to actually become aware of this because, of course, it's harmless to have the white lies, the quick, harmless ones. But when it gets more serious, this is the relationships that can really suffer, and it causes suffering in humanity.
Yeah.
You know.
So we obviously speaking about how this, obviously we can see it, the different fives, but what if you are going through that? What if you are a compulsive liar? What if you are a sociopathic liar? How do you then deal with that? Because how do you identify as being a sociopathic liar or a pathological liar?
So very often with the sociopathic liars and the psychopathic liars, they don't have a level of responsibility and accountability. They have their own reality, which is completely distorted from the realities of others. So they are not able to actually acknowledge what they are doing. It becomes a reality. They're like a lead role actor, and they're just playing a role. But they have no conscience, so that is the problem with these kind of liars. Obviously, if someone is aware that, you know, this person is a psychopath or sociopath, they can obviously try and seek professional help, but it's very rare that this kind of person will really heal. These are liars that don't really heal, and it's harsh to say, but it's because they know they're hurting other people and they're doing it with complete intention. And one is to question one's values in that regard.
Well, Asha, I am honestly getting so educated, and scary as it is, it's a reality that we all do need to face and something we definitely should be aware of too. But of course, we are going to continue this conversation and encourage you, Mzansi, to get involved as well. Come through on our Facebook page and we're in the convo, and we'll be chatting to you with our last segment on dishonesty in relationships in just a bit. We'll see you then.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
With just over 15 minutes to go before we say goodbye to you, you're still tuning into your Feel Good Breakfast show. It is Expresso live here on S3. Now, we're talking relationships. It's Monday. We're asking this question. Have you ever been dishonest in your relationships? And why? Why were you dishonest? Why did you lie? We're back with clinical psychologist Asha Dullabh to unpack this topic. So do weigh in with some of your questions, your comments on our Facebook page. We like engaging there. Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. Asha, thanks for staying with us. You look gorgeous, and that's not a lie. That's no lie.
Now, look, we were obviously having an awesome conversation about this, and we were discussing the 5 types of liars, right? And with that, the question I have is, when it comes to dealing with these different types of lies, is there a different mechanic or a different way in which we need to address these different types of individuals?
So I think it's important to first determine which type of liar you're dealing with, number one. Of course, we just want to set our boundaries. That's always really good. Communicate assertively with any liar, any type. Also, just try and be transparent. Work on one's level of integrity daily. You know, ask yourself, am I actually able to not lie for 24 hours? And see if we can do that. And most probably most of us won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not even doing the white lie. And of course, if we're looking at more serious type of liars, I would say not trying to deal with it yourself, rather seeking professional help to get an understanding of this kind of person. Because remember, lies, they all come from their own history, their own childhood, their traumas. So that, you know, people lie for different reasons. So there's experiences of neglect, there's experiences of isolation, abandonment, whatever childhood traumas play in, you know, it rubber bands throughout their life.
Yeah.
So we need to do it with compassion.
Something else to consider here, Asha, is that what you're comfortable telling your parents or your friends or your cousins or your chommies is not the same in terms of the honesty factor as what you might be comfortable telling your partner. Can we expect different levels of honesty and how to sort of navigate lies depending on the type of relationship we're dealing with?
I think so. I think that naturally with a partner, we feel much more closer. We feel a sense of safety, feel a sense of comfort in sharing with the partner. So naturally we share more than our friends and our colleagues. But it really actually also, you know, it speaks volumes about, do we feel comfortable with an individual? Because sometimes people can share so much with a stranger because there's a resonance and there's a blend in that transaction. Then you start sharing and you think, oh my word, I shared a bit too much there. So it's all about the energy in a relationship.
So when it comes to dishonesty and being in that relationship, obviously when we don't want dishonesty anymore, how do we place importance and how do we go about actually saying, listen, I don't want dishonesty here, and I don't actually want a dishonest person in my life, because that's a harsh reality, and that might be the person that you might be with at that point in time. Easier said than done, all right? And it takes a lot of courage. How do you address that without pushing them away? Because often you might get that impact where it's like, well, no, I'm not a liar, you're a liar, and then they run away, versus let's discuss this. It can be a very tricky thing, right?
It is a tricky thing, but you've just hit the nail on the head. Let's discuss this. Let's communicate about it. This is what I'm picking up. Because, as I say, there's a reason why someone lies, and maybe trying to find the source of that reason. Are you lying because you want to protect someone? Are you lying because there's a reward? Are you lying to avoid punishment? Sometimes we even lie to maintain a sense of privacy, and some people don't understand that. And I think what's most important is that we must question ourselves and also question, are we lying to ourselves? Because we can also be lying to ourselves. And that's
the most
very
dangerous,
important.
right?
That's the most dangerous, because then we just lose ourselves completely in our sense of complete well-being.
You know what, Asha, we could spend all day, literally, and I'm not lying. We could sit here and have a conversation about this the entire time. But thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Pleasure.
And really helping us start this conversation, unpack it. I suppose, also get a sense of clarity in our heads and our minds about how we deal with this sort of thing. The truth is, when you are dealing with dishonesty in a relationship, it's very important to address it, communicate with your partner, try and understand the root of this dishonesty. And if you are seeking professional help, someone like Asha is available to give you such help. info@ashadullabh.com. That's the email address. You can connect with her there. You can also connect with her on her social media @Asha Dullabh. Thank you, Asha.